Hello everyone and welcome to Financial Accounting Online. This is Anne-Marie Anderson. I'll be your instructor and this is our summer session, so it is quite accelerated. To show you how to get into Canvas, what you would do first is you go to rvcc.login and it will bring you to your Lion's Den once you input your G number and your password. Okay, so once you're in your Lion's Den, there is a button down here for Canvas. It may not be in exactly the same place as it is for me, but you do have a Canvas link in here. Once you do link into Canvas, it will bring you to this page. Oop, I do want to extend. Look at that. It will bring you to this page. You might have to do some logging in again, but it will bring you here. So if you click on Canvas, well, you're just not going to say faculty, but if you click on Canvas, it will bring you, bam, to Canvas. So this is what you might see a dashboard that might have, hang on, it's coming, that'll look a little something like this with some buttons on it. You're going to be clicking on whichever course you have with me. Obviously, I have a few more than you probably have. So I'm going to click on Financial Accounting. And looking at this is your welcome page, and this is actually where I'm going to be posting this little YouTube video once I'm done with it. It's going to kind of give you some, welcome information. But primarily where you're going to be living is going to be in modules. And actually, let me put this in a student view so you'll be seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Or I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing. So in here you've got announcements. If I do send you an announcement, it'll pop up on your screen. It'll show up here. Your grades you'll be able to track in here once you start having grades to have here. Initially it's going to be blank, obviously. The people in the course. Your syllabus. And the syllabus information actually shows you a bunch of little pieces of information. So here's a link to the syllabus itself. But also what we have in here is we've kind of got what's due and when. So I open all my assignments for a range of time. So from the time you get into the course, all the way through, well, actually the first thing due is your introduction. But from the time you get into the course all the way through June 2nd, you have these first 3 chapters of homework due. And then you have a test that's open for 2 days from June 3rd to June 4th. And you can see all of this in one of the documents I'm going to be sending to you, which is kind of an Excel timeline. So in here I left all these little try it's and animated lecture. You note the word optional at the end of them. Really they're just study tools for you, and I wanted to give you them just to use them if you so chose. But the big guy in here is going to be your test. And this is not your main navigating page, so I'm just kind of showing you what is in here. And you'll have a form due as well at that same time on June 4th. So it's kind of like, because it's a summer session, I realize that people are traveling, people are doing things. Rather than having something due every couple of days, I gave you a little better than a week for each set of chapters. So in here you've got your exams are worth 60%, your homework is worth 30%, and your discussions in total are worth 10% of your grade, okay? So you can kind of see it all in here. Like I said, it looks a little clustered simply because I've got several things due on each day because they're open for, like I said, that week of time. Alright, the primary place you're going to be living is in this modules tab. In here I've kind of got a getting started for you, and in that getting started is going to be, there we go, is going to be your syllabus, the calendar I mentioned. So if you click on this, you will see all the due dates. It'll come up in Excel. Form information, homework questions, information on buying the book, and a link to your introduction. Okay, so that's in that getting started. Let me go back to modules. This is a link directly to the form because since that is an assignment due, I made it on this outside as well, so you can get to it either of these places, from the Getting Started tab or from your introduction. Now what this is, and I stayed consistent throughout it, was I have a link to your homework, which you will be doing in my accounting lab, and I have a link to your homework discussion questions. Those are your main graded items other than exams. So I made a link out here, but also within here, it's coming, within here is everything you need to know for the chapter, right? So kind of a little brief introduction I've written for the chapter. I give you a link to my accounting lab where you're completing the homework. You could again link to this from that outside module, and a link to the homework discussion forum. You could link to that through the outside module. Okay, so I kind of gave you 2 places. to get to these things. The materials, if you have PowerPoint here, you have this little down arrow. You have an option of previewing it or downloading the PowerPoint for the chapter. You might have a few links in here, like the AICPA Start Here Go Places, a pretty neat link. I give you the try-its and animated lectures. They're optional study tools. And then on top of that, I've got screencasts. So I've put together screencasts to cover the material in these chapters. So there's 1, 2, 3. Most chapters have about 3. Some chapters are long, like chapter 9, I want to say is long. I might have 5. They're about 10 minutes apiece, but they're my lectures. I developed them specifically for my online students. Okay, so let me go back to modules for a second. So you have this pretty consistently. There's your chapter 1. I'm trying to close it. Chapter 2 has got exactly the same thing going on. Literally. So if I were to click on chapter 2, you're going to see all the same basic format, okay? So again, you'll have the link to your My Accounting Lab, your homework discussion forum, and your PowerPoint. And there's a cute little song I put in here for you guys. Your try-its, your animated lectures, optional. And then again, my lectures, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. They're actually on YouTube, so this is just a link to them. Okay, so from here, let me go back out to modules. You might be saying, well, how do I get to this online homework you're talking about? Well, let me first finish looking at this. Chapter 2, Chapter 3, so same format again. I do have a forum post, and that is in your timeline, and your first exam is linked to through here. Your exams and your homework are all done through My Accounting Lab. And this is a discussion forum. You can click into the discussion forum, and you'll see that there are rubrics. So this is the discussion forum. I tell you what I want. You're going to be putting your posts in here. And if you want, you can look at the rubric, so you can see how I grade these things. 60 points for your original post, 30 points for your response post, and 10 points for grammar, punctuation, capitalization, all that kind of good stuff, which, there you go, delivery of the post. So you have all that information in there, and that's how I'm going to grade you. I'll be clicking on these as I go through, and that'll be how the grade is submitted for each of these. So if you have a question about how it's graded, you can look to the rubric to see what I did. Okay. Speaking of which, let me talk actually about this. So each set of chapters will have kind of a researchy type of form, and I don't mean that like you're doing heavy research. I just mean I'm going to have you go out in the world and go find something or discuss something that you've looked up or researched a little bit. But also within each chapter, within each module, for each chapter, you have a requirement for posting about that chapter. So in chapter 1, here you go, homework discussion questions. I want and expect you to be talking to each other about the homework. I want you to be working together like you're a class, all working together. And I grade you on it. So I want you to ask, if you have a homework question, then I consider that a Q. If you're stuck on a homework question. If another one of your classmates could respond to that question helpfully. Not just like, I have the same problem, or yeah, I'm stuck on that too. Instead, I want some sort of guidance, without numbers, without answers, please. But you can guide one another towards an appropriate answer, like, hey, maybe you haven't thought of this, that kind of thing. Something helping the other classmate to get to their own answer. So you have a requirement for 1 Q and 1 R is how I like to put it, right? That gets you to 100. But if you don't have a question or you have nothing to respond to, then I'm okay with a comment as well to replace one of those other 2 criteria. With a comment, and I'll send you an email on this with more detail, but what a comment is I want you to write about something in the world of accounting, something that you found interesting in the chapter, in a minimum of 250 words, and that will give you credit for a Q or an R. So I kind of laid it all out here so you understand what you're looking at. And again, you can, and I look at responses like they're worth a little bit more than, if you only have 1 response, that's the only thing you post in chapter and you're helping another student, I'll count that as a 75. If you have multiple responses, that's 100. So you don't have to have a question. You can just respond to several students and get the same amount of credit. A little bit confusing. You'll get used to it, I promise you, and I'll send you an email with a little bit more detail. Okay, so back to My Accounting Lab. So in your My Accounting Lab, I'm going to send you a set of instructions on how to get into it. You can click here and you can see everything in My Accounting Lab. You actually open up another window, another tab, and it's as if you're working in My Accounting Lab directly. And you might want to do that. You might prefer to work in My Accounting Lab rather than Canvas. Because what it is Canvas kind of links you to My Accounting Lab, but if you find the screens are too small, it's too difficult to manipulate, you can click here and work directly in My Accounting Lab. So you're going to be pressing this yellow button, and it's going to ask you for some information, which I will be sending to you, right, along with the link to this. Let me see what happens if I click on it from here. See, I don't think it works because, oh, no, look at that. All right. It's coming. Privacy statement. Sure, I accept. And here we go. If you don't have an account, you can create one. If you have an account, you can put the information in. You can buy it directly through the publisher, your access, or you can buy through the bookstore and then input a code once it gets you past this initial login screen. Okay, so Canvas is brand new to Raritan Valley. So if you find that you're struggling in some area or I've forgotten to link something for you, then by all means reach out to me. And I'm happy to try to clarify where something might be. All right, good luck, and I hope to see you in the course.